The conference room smelled of stale coffee and ambition, the air thick with the hum of fluorescent lights and the faint rustle of papers. I sat at the polished mahogany table, my tie too tight, my palms damp against the armrests. My wife, Claire, sat across from me, her posture regal, her smile sharp as a blade. She was the boss, my boss, her navy blazer crisp, her auburn hair pulled into a bun so tight it seemed to tug at her thoughts. The promotion meeting had been my stage, my moment to shine after years of grinding under her shadow. I'd nailed the presentation, my voice steady, my numbers airtight. "I'm excited for my raise," I'd said grinning, expecting her nod of approval. But Claire chuckled, a low, throaty sound that sliced through the room's hum. "What raise?" she said, her eyes glinting with something I couldn't name. Amusement, pity, or something darker. The other managers shifted uncomfortably, their gazes darting to their laptops. My stomach dropped, a cold stone plummeting through me. It wasn't just the words. It was the way she said them, like she was savoring a private joke. I forced a laugh, playing it off, but my mind was already racing. Was this a test? A power play? Claire and I had built this company together. Her as the visionary CEO, me as the loyal number cruncher, the one who made her dreams profitable. At home, we were partners, equals, or so I thought. But that chuckle lingered, a splinter in my thoughts as I drove home that evening. The city's neon lights blurring through the windshield. The radio droned, but all I could hear was her voice. "What raise?" I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles whitened, replaying every moment of our marriage, searching for cracks I'd missed. At home, Claire was already in the kitchen, her heels clicking on the hardwood as she poured wine. The house smelled of rosemary and garlic, her attempt at normalcy. "Tough day?" she asked, her tone light, but her eyes didn't meet mine. I wanted to confront her, to demand answers, but the words stuck in my throat. Instead I muttered, "Yeah, something like that." We ate in near silence, the clink of forks deafening. My mind churned. Had I misread the budget? No, I triple-checked the figures. The raise was in the plan, my plan. So why had she humiliated me? Why that laugh, that dismissive edge? I watched her sip her wine, her lips stained red, and wondered if I knew her at all. That night, I couldn't sleep. The bedroom was too quiet, the sheets too cold. Claire's breathing was steady, but I stared at the ceiling, my thoughts spiraling. I remembered the late nights she'd spent at the office, her phone buzzing at odd hours, her sudden trips to client dinners I wasn't invited to. Small things easily explained, until now. I slipped out of bed, my bare feet silent on the carpet, and crept to her study. Her laptop sat on the desk, its silver lid gleaming under the moonlight. My heart pounded as I opened it, her password. Our anniversary, burning my fingertips as I typed. The screen glowed, revealing a locked folder labeled private. My throat tightened. I shouldn't be here, I told myself. This was paranoia, not proof. But my fingers moved anyway, clicking, searching, until I found an email thread buried in her archives. The sender's name was Ethan, her VP of marketing. The subject line was blank, but the words inside were a gut punch. "Missed you last night. Same place tomorrow." My vision blurred, the screen swimming. Another email dated weeks ago. "You're right, he doesn't suspect a thing." My breath caught, sharp and ragged. Me. I scrolled. Each message a fresh wound. Flirtations, plans, promises of secrecy. My wife, my boss, was betraying me, not just in our marriage but in the company we'd built. Ethan, with his slick suits and easy charm, had been in my home, at my table, laughing with us. I wanted to scream, to shatter the laptop, but I sat frozen, the truth sinking into me like poison. The next morning, Claire was all smiles, her voice bright as she kissed my cheek and left for the office. I called in sick, my voice hoarse, my mind a storm. I spent the day piecing it together, each memory a shard of glass. The way Ethan's hand lingered on her arm at the last company gala. The way she'd started locking her phone. The way she'd stopped saying, "I love you" first. I wanted to believe I was wrong, that this was a misunderstanding, but the emails were undeniable. Still doubt not at me. What if I confronted her and lost everything? Our marriage, my job, my pride. I needed proof, something tangible, something she couldn't twist. I started watching her. Subtle, at first, checking her calendar, noting her late nights. Then Boulder. I followed her one evening, my car trailing hers through the city's rain-slicked streets. She parked outside a dimly lit bar, one we'd never been to together. Through the fogged window, I saw her with Ethan, their heads close, her hand on his. My chest burned, my fists clenched. I wanted to storm in, to scream, but I drove home instead, the rain hammering my windshield like accusations. At home, I poured whiskey, the burn in my throat matching the one in my heart. I was losing her, had already lost her, and I hadn't even seen it coming. The confrontation came a week later, after another meeting where Claire's gaze slid past me, her words clipped and cold. I waited until we were alone in her office, the door closed, the hum of the building fading. "What's going on, Claire?" I asked, my voice low, trembling. She looked up, her eyes narrowing. "What do you mean?" she said, but there was a flicker. Guilt, fear, I couldn't tell. I laid it all bare. The emails, the bar, the lies. Her face crumpled, then hardened. "You went through my laptop?" she snapped, deflecting. But I pressed, my voice rising, the hurt spilling out. "How long, Claire? How long have you and Ethan been?" I couldn't finish. She stood, her chair scraping, her hands shaking. "It's not what you think," she said, but her voice cracked and I knew. She confessed in fragments, each word a dagger. "It started months ago," she said, a moment of weakness. "Ethan was there when I wasn't, when I was buried in spreadsheets, too busy to notice her loneliness." She swore it meant nothing, that she loved me, but the words felt hollow. I wanted to believe her, to cling to the life we'd built, but trust was ash in my mouth. "And the raise?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. She froze, her eyes wide. I didn't want you to leave," she admitted. "If you got the raise, you'd have options. You might go somewhere else." The truth hit like a slap. She'd sabotaged me to keep me close, to control me, while she strayed. I walked out, her pleas echoing behind me. The office blurred, the city blurred, everything blurred. At home, I packed a bag, my hands shaking as I folded shirts I didn't care about. The doorbell rang and I froze. It was Ethan, his face pale, his eyes wide. "I didn't mean for this to happen," he stammered, but before he could finish I swung. My fist connected with his jaw, pain exploding in my knuckles, satisfaction fleeting. He stumbled back, blood on his lip, but his next word stopped me cold. "She's pregnant, man. It's mine." The world tilted, the ground gone. Claire pregnant. Not with me. The betrayal wasn't just an affair. It was a future stolen, a life rewritten. I stood there, rain starting to fall, my heart a ruin, wondering how I'd ever rebuild.